I gotta touch on Benghazi Gate. Now, little by little, the truth has been leaking out about what actually happened with that Ambassador Stevens and that whole thing. Whether he was smuggling weapons from Libya into Turkey to help supply Al Qaeda, the Free Syrian Army with weapons, or whatever he was doing. He was in there doing some nasty stuff. Don't know exactly who it was. Might have been the Russians. Might have been, the local Muslim Brotherhood. Might have been, who knows? Who cares, frankly. The point I wanted to make is how our government, how the executive branch is responding to the aftermath of the whole thing. The Senate and the Congress that we just voted back in, and what we have, less than maybe a dozen incumbents that were thrown out and replaced with somebody else. A minuscule amount of turnover for the Congress and the Senate, and these people are completely incompetent. They have no backbone. They call a hearing about the death of an ambassador, and our Secretary of State, Hillary Clinton, has a scheduling conflict, and she can't go and testify. General Petraeus, the head of the CIA, comes out and says, I have to resign because I banged some other broad over to my wife. Give me a damn break. And now they got his testimony on hold. Congress, senators, you're a freaking joke. You're a freaking joke. You're like potted plants. You're worse than potted plants, because at least potted plants are producing oxygen. You're like a fake potted plant. You're like a ceramic or a plastic potted plant with fake dirt. You don't even have soil in your pot. You don't need to be watered. You're just plastic. You're fake. And every 2 or 6 years, you get money thrown at you to help put a new little paint job on your fake leaves and your fake flowers. And so you look all bright and shiny to the idiot that passes by and say, hey, look at that potted plant. At least what the hell? You guys aren't using your subpoena power. You're not using any kind of arrest power. Obama's going and bombing whoever the hell he wants. Went into Libya without any kind of approval. Are we living in a dictatorship? It's getting pretty close to that. The balance of power between three branches, the executive and the judicial, are running in lockstep. The judicial is signing off on anything the executive branch wants to do. Look this one up. Google me this. Beer for bullets. There was some whistleblowers. I can't remember who had the original article, but it was linked to on stevequayle.com. There were these whistleblowers over in Iraq that were going to expose a scam where private contractors were smuggling in liquor and trading with the soldiers the liquor for weapons and ammunition, and then taking those weapons and ammunition and selling them onto the black market. Now, how sick is that? All right, so you think there'd be an uproar and a big investigation. Remember, Tom Carper is on the committee for investigations. But, we can't get a decent investigation into Fast and Furious, so why should we have this? So the whistleblowers are trying to leave Iraq, and they get caught by the military. The military finds out what they're about to do and expose the whole Beer for Bullets scandal. And so they have them arrested and brought to a detention center in Iraq where they claim they are tortured. Well, I tend to believe them. because then the court rules. They get back to the United States. They finally get out of that. They get back to the United States and they sue. And a federal appeals court ruled that basically the government, the military, get to do whatever the hell they want in foreign countries. And I'd imagine they would allow them to do it here as well, because of the passage of the National Defense Authorization Act, which Carper and John Carney and Chris Coons all voted for. The military is allowed to come in, arrest you without warrant, without cause, and hold you indefinitely. And now an appeals court says they can torture you with complete immunity. So we've got the judicial branch and the executive branch that are moving in lockstep towards a total dictatorship, a hard tyranny. And, you know, the only thing that we could have any effect in, if there wasn't voter fraud on top of it, would be to get some kind of a hold over the legislature. But the legislature, your legislators are incompetent, man. They spend more time honoring some college team for their basketball win, or debating the new name of a post office somewhere, even though the post office is going out of business, is bankrupt and needing a bailout. You know, these guys are so insulated inside their bubble, and there's so much money and influence that gets thrown at them, that every last one of them are engaged in just this complacency of this, you know, this machine that's being built, this dictatorship. And what sucks is that it's going to take some massive collapse for there to be an awakening. You know, here in Delaware, we had, between the Senate race, you had Carper, the Democrat, Kevin Wade, the Republican, and then a newcomer, Alex Pires, the Independent. Alex Pires had the money. He spent the money. He had the signage. He had the radio ads. He had the billboards. Man, you didn't go through Delaware and not see that name. You know, and beyond that, how much time do people actually go and look at his website and look for what he stands for? No, they see the names. They see the Carper, the Wade, the Alex Pires. Kevin Wade got 27%. Alex Pires spent probably 3, 4, maybe even 10 times the money. Who knows? I have no idea. But it was significant multiples of money spent on his campaign versus Kevin Wade's. And he was only able to pull out 3.7%. So the message is, what I take from this is that there's absolutely no shot of a third party. It is a waste of time and money to run third party, except for the fact that if you run, you can go to the debates. You do have some kind of a flat platform to talk about issues. But other than that, your chances of actually affecting change, minimal, absolutely minimal. The best you can do is go to some forums and talk about currency and talk about monetary policy and how it affects the economy. And, you know, you might get 1% of the people who hear you to look beyond what we're doing. So nothing is going to change until we have a total breakdown of either the monetary system or transportation or a combination thereof. People are going to have to be hungry before they're going to be willing to look outside the box and look outside what's going on. You know, Tom Carper was running ads talking about how he's going to save Social Security and Medicare. Yeah, he might be able to save them, but he's going to do it by completely destroying the dollar. Remember, Alan Greenspan said not too long ago, you know, we're the United States. We can print any amount of money that we need in order to pay any bill that comes up. What we can't guarantee is the purchasing power of that currency. And until we understand that basic concept, the fact that all of our labor is being destroyed by this inflation, nothing's going to change, and it's going to get drastically worse. So I'm hoping that when things go bad, the people wake up and don't re-vote these guys back in, because it's gonna be bad. It's gonna be bad. I really don't want to see the United States get split up. There was an article about, who was it? Some state, Louisiana. There was a petition going around asking the White House if Louisiana could peacefully secede from the Union. Man, we don't have to do that. If we just get a control over who's issuing our currency, take what gold and silver we have and spend it into the economy, so that the people who are worried about inflation and want an alternative currency can use that and protect themselves against any future shenanigans of the government, and roll back these entitlement programs to something that is sustainable. But the biggest part of that whole thing, the biggest part, the white swan that we need, is the keys to the patent office. The technology is there for us to all be running magnet motors, free energy. Nobody should have an electric bill. No business should have an electric bill. They should be able to go out, purchase one of these units that provides them with the electricity that they need. You don't need all this huge, massive electricity grid that we see how easy and how vulnerable it is. We get some storms up in the Northeast, and we've still got a week and a half, 2 weeks later, we've still got hundreds of thousands of people that don't have electricity. There's fuel technologies and all kind of stuff is there. It's sitting in the patent office, but nobody is allowed to use it. Nobody's allowed to get in there, because the monopoly companies that are owned and run by these big banks have stolen the technology from the people and locked it up. So between that and getting hold of the monetary issue and getting rid of this fractional reserve banking, these are the basic things that we need to start hearing from a different class of politician. Damn it, I'm gonna vote. I'd vote for the guy that made 35 grand last year as a waiter at a restaurant, or a cook, or I'd vote for a dishwasher before I would vote for one of these guys that came from a Harvard school, or Yale, or one of these Ivy League, and then spent time at Goldman Sachs. To hell with those bastards. You got to understand who you're voting for, and who do you want leading you? Some guy that's insulated with all this crap, or someone who knows how the real world works. So that's what I'm hoping people start thinking about. All right, done.